Hey everybody, my name is Chris Garcia and I'm going to teach you how to spin a diabolo. Now before we actually learn how to spin one of these, let's really quickly talk about the history of the diabolo. We believe the diabolo was invented around 2,000 years ago in ancient China. A lot of history, a lot of culture, and a lot of tricks have been invented in this 2,000 years. So many tricks are possible that even after me practicing it for 15 or 16 years, I'm still learning new tricks. Tossing it up in the air, bouncing it on the string like a trampoline, behind the back. You can even dance with it. Tossing it, catching the stick. Even doing cool tricks like magic, where you make it levitate. Like so. So we call it the diabolo. You might have heard it pronounced diablo. The proper pronunciation is diabolo or diabolo, as I like to say it. Diabolo used to be called Chinese yo-yo. It was recoined in 1906, and that's when it was actually reinvented and made out of rubber and other types of materials. Now you might be brand new to diabolo, in which case you might not know which one to use. There are so many different sizes and so many different weights that it might be difficult to choose your first diabolo. Like I said, so many different sizes, different colors, different weights, and even some diabolos that have a bearing in the middle, which means they spin one way with the middle of the axle and they don't spin the other way because they have a one-way bearing. Now, I would recommend if you're a beginner, I would use a fixed axle diabolo. The fixed axle diabolo will be a little bit more difficult to spin at first, but overall it will teach you the proper technique and make sure that you're learning the diabolo correctly and how to get it spinning nice and correct. Different sticks do exist. Sticks made of wood, sticks made of carbon fiber, sticks made of metal, sticks made of plastic that are maybe a little bit longer. I usually like to use a diabolo around this size with the sticks around this weight. So any of these diabolos I have here are actually pretty good to use. They do make diabolos with a one-sided cup, which is also known as a monobolo in that case, single-sided diabolo. But yeah, any good beginner diabolo around this size or around this weight will be a good diabolo to start with. Ideally, you want to keep the weight of your stick a good ratio to the weight of your diabolo. I recommend using good quality sticks, ones that are not too heavy and ones that are nice and comfortable. They'll make your practicing a lot easier and they'll make the stick tossing tricks a lot easier as well. Once you get to that level, you don't want a heavy stick for that because that's going to kind of impede on your learning process. So get a good diabolo, get a good set of sticks. If you are looking for a diabolo but you don't know where to buy them, I do have some on sale on my website. I'll talk about that more at the end of this video, so forward to the end of the video if you need to, because I do have discount codes if you want to buy your first diabolo. There's also a lot of different types of string that exist in the diabolo world. Ideally, the string itself is more actually like a cord. It's not braided around itself, it's threaded through itself, and it actually resembles more of a cord than a string. These are good quality cords. You can buy them online. They're not that expensive. Ideally, you want to change your string maybe every month if you practice an hour every day. But you want to definitely make sure that your string doesn't have any knots or tangles or any type of fraying on it. When you see your string getting frayed, that means usually that it's time to get your string replaced to a brand new one. So yeah, your typical diabolo set usually consists of the diabolo itself, which is basically two cups, or they're kind of like bowls, connected together by an axle, which is the middle part, usually made of metal. And you also have the controls, which are the sticks connected by the string. So now that we know a little bit about the history and the anatomy of the diabolo, let's actually learn how to spin one of these. So, like I said before, we're going to use the sticks and the string, like the controls, to get the diabolo to spin. We're going to put our hand sticks close together like so, with the ends of the sticks lined up. And I'm going to actually use only just one of my hands to get it spinning by doing a tugging motion, or in this case, it's kind of like playing the drums, but with only using one of your hands to get the diabolo to spin. Keeping that string lined up as you're doing that you're going to get the diabolo spin. Let's take the diabolo, and we're going to take the string. First, before we put it on the string, we want to make sure we have no twists, tangles, or knots, because that will get in the way. So make sure it's not all twisted or tangled or wrapped around itself. We're going to put the diabolo on top of the string like so, without any wraps, knots, twists, or tangles. If it is twisted, untwist it so it's nice and unwrapped. Easy off, easy on, easy on, easy off. So we're going to put the diabolo on top of the string like so, and we're going to actually start it on the floor. By putting it on the floor, we want to have it facing towards our body. Not sideways like this, but you want to face it towards your body. So it's pointing towards you. And you want to have it lined up with your feet. You're going to put your hands close together like we talked about. And when we pick it up, we're going to pull with only one hand to get the diabolo to spin. And look at that. With every pull that you do, the diabolo starts to spin faster and faster with every pull. So yeah, what's happening here basically is as you pull on one side, the string slides underneath the diabolo from one side to the other, which causes friction between the string and the axle. The friction is what gets the diabolo to spin nice and fast. So pulling out on one side for a little bit, you're going to get your diabolo spinning nice and fast. Basically what's happening here is kind of similar to the way a bike works. If you pedal with your bike, you're going to make the chain move around the gears, which in turn makes the wheel spin around. Kind of the same concept. This is like your chain, this is like your gear. Pedal one way, or pull one way in this case, you're going to get the wheel, or in this case, the diabolo to turn. If you look at it from the side, you can see how the string is lined up, which keeps the diabolo balanced on the string. Hands close together, string centered, and the diabolo stays balanced on the string. If you don't have your hands lined up, you're going to notice that the diabolo will start to tilt. And eventually, if it tilts too much, it's going to cause it to either fall off or get twisted and tangled like so. If that does happen, just take the time to untwist it and unwrap it, and try again. But the reason that happens is because if your string is not lined up, the diabolo will twist and fall off. With the hand that I pull it with, my right hand and my control hand, I can tilt it forward by moving my right hand forward, and that will tilt the diabolo forwards. Or I can move that same right hand, and I can move it backwards, and that can tilt it backwards. Keep those hands together to keep it balanced. Forward, tilt it forward, or backward, tilt it backwards. Notice how my body stays lined up, even though the diabolo might start going side to side. You want to keep your body lined up, especially when you're correcting it. It may have the tendency to misalign with your body. So if you look at it from the side, again, see how lined up the strings are. Backwards with the right hand will tilt the diabolo backwards, or forward will tilt the diabolo forwards. You want to use that technique to counteract the balance. If it's tilted too much forward, you want to tilt it backwards, and vice versa. Otherwise, just keep your hands together and keep the string center so the diabolo stays balanced. So now that we know about the basics of getting the diabolo spinning on the string, let's cover some other ways to get it started. We're going to put it on top of the string like we did at first, and this time I'm going to put the diabolo in front of my right foot. Because I'm a righty, I'm putting it in front of my right. Keep those hands together, and I'm going to just roll the diabolo on the floor so it actually gets spin from a roll. This is a little bit easier to start it with a rolling start, or it's kind of, in this case, kind of like a walking the dog start. But with a rolling start, it'll have spin right away, making it a little easier to start it. And even it can go directly into one of the first tricks I'm going to teach you today too, which is the toss and catch. The rolling start is a lot easier, but it only works if you're on a flat surface like I am right now. There is actually another way to start the diabolo by using your hand. By putting your hand underneath the diabolo like so, notice how I separate the two fingers and I have one finger in the middle. Some people hold it different ways. This is how I like to hold it. I'm going to hold it with my hand like so. I'm going to put the diabolo on the string. I'm going to reach back and recoil, and then I'm going to flick, and that will be an easy way to start it with your hand. One more time, hand underneath, fingers around the edges, put the string underneath the diabolo, reach back, and flick it down to get the diabolo spinning from your hand. You can flick it on the floor like that, towards the floor. You can even flick it on the string without placing it on the string like so. You could also even just toss it from your hand by doing that same grip and just giving it a toss in the air and then catching it. So now that we know a few starts and how to get it spinning and balanced, you're actually ready to learn how to do your first trick. This is where it gets pretty fun, because these diabolos, you could actually toss them in the air. You could even toss them up really high. So without using the diabolo for now, let's imagine that we're getting our diabolo spinning on the string. When you go for that toss, you want to pull apart and make the string tight. Keep that string tight when it's in the air, especially if you're outside and it's windy. The string's going to blow around if your string isn't tight. So keep the string tight, point your hand up in the air to line up the stick, and use the stick to try to point at the middle of the Diabolo, kind of like a laser pointer. You want to imagine you're trying to aim at the middle, shining the light at the middle, and then when the Diabolo gets on the string, bring those hands back down together and spin it up again. Before you toss it, you want to make sure your body is lined up with it. If you're not facing the Diabolo, face it, and like I said, make your hands lined up, and all you have to do from there is pull your hands apart and make the string tight. When it's in the air, you want to point the hand up and line the string up with your dominant hand, pointing up at it, kind of like a superhero. If you look at it from the side, notice how I'm using the stick to guide the string, which will be a lot easier to catch the Diabolo at the end of the stick and string than in the middle, which is going to be a lot harder to do. You can do a low toss by pulling your hands apart slowly. You can do a higher toss by pulling your hands apart nice and fast. After you get that toss and catch, there are so many variations just on tossing and catching it. You can toss it up, you can do it 360, you can keep the string open and bounce it on the string like a trampoline. You could even toss it in a circle. Toss it in a circle under your leg. Even tossing it in a circle behind your back. There are so much variations of the toss and catch. If this is your first time getting it, try doing maybe one toss, try to see how high you can toss it, try to see how many times you can toss it in a row without dropping it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this tutorial helped you understand how to get your Diabolo spinning and balanced, and even how to do your first trick of tossing and catching it. I'm going to be making a bunch of different tutorials and a bunch of different tricks. If you haven't yet, follow me on my YouTube channel, or follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, at Draco the Juggler, and I will announce when I post my new content. If you don't have a Diabolo yet, I'm actually doing a sale on my web store. If you go to dracothejuggler.com/shop, you can buy one of these cool shirts. Or you can even get a beginner Diabolo at a good price. I have some few beginner Diabolos, different types, different qualities. They are on sale. If you use dracothejuggler.com/shop, go to that website, and you use a discount code, MyFirstDiabolo, again, dracothejuggler.com/shop, MyFirstDiabolo, you can get a Diabolo at a discount price. Be sure to follow me every week. I'm going to be posting new video content, so stay tuned, and good luck, everybody.